final report, and you know, I've glanced. I haven't like analyzed it sentence by sentence, but it's coming, right? I mean, when we do the analysis of this, which is at the end, basically.
Right.
When we have the timeline, then we go back into this stupid thing. You know, it's not incompetent yet; it's stupid.
Right.
And then we're going to go, who wrote it? Because obviously, whoever wrote this didn't investigate it. It's somebody completely different, right? So,
right.
But anyway, I took this, and on the back end of this, there's two appendices. And in those appendices, Appendix A.
That's like an awful big word for you. Do you have problems saying that word? Can you even spell that?
It's more difficult for me to say Jesus Campos than it is appendices.
All right. Go ahead. I just thought.
And yes, I can spell it, but I'm not going to because then you'll learn how to.
All right. That's fair enough.
So the investigation has they have three appendices. The last one, which is Appendix C, is the autopsy report. I don't want to read that one.
Right.
But Appendix A is the lock information, the door information, basically.
Okay.
For room 135. Appendix B is for 134.
Okay.
Now, let's just set the record straight. What we're missing is all the other damn doors on the floor.
Including the one that Jesus originally went to go see.
Right. Which is 129.
Because that was room 129.
Right.
So that's not even in there.
Which we know 129 was registered to DJ Silver and his wife Jenna. Okay.
All right.
129 and 130. So here's a video of DJ Silver who performed at Route 91.
You were with your wife there in the concert, enjoying it. Tell me what happened.
It's just a regular night. I walked off stage. I took my ears out. I handed the ears to my monitor guy and hugged him and said thank you, and walked off stage to get Jenna. And I sat down for like 2 seconds, and I would hear a pop. It's just my ears. I didn't know if it wasn't right yet. We hear several pops, and get down. Pushed us to the ground, and we ended up behind the bus, and eventually ended up on the bus. And I got a text saying, "What room are you?" And I said, 32-130. My kid's there, and they said the shooter's 200 feet from you.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, he performed there. Yeah, that night.
He was a performer there?
He performed. Yeah.
So the room door that Jesus was investigating originally was a performer out front.
Right.
Is the person that actually that guy was reserving that room. That's interesting.
He actually had two rooms, 130 across the hall, in which his interview actually states, and we'll show that because he did an interview on TV and he said 130. 129 was across the hall. 129 had the door open, right?
Right.
129 was where the aunt, the nanny, whoever it was.
Okay.
Right. So you had the little baby, one baby, okay, and the name of the baby is Wake. So DJ Silver's baby that was in the room 130 first name is named Wake, Wake. Okay. Right. And in 129, you had the aunt who was watching. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of family members there. It'd be nice to go through and actually identify who all was up there. I have to assume that everybody on the floor of 100 wing was interviewed and has a sworn statement that I have yet to see. So the locks, 134, 135, that's what we're going to go through. What I did with this is I went through Appendix A, Alpha, for room 135, and they give the list of locks, right? So this is that hot SOS, right? So Campos gets the alarm, hot SOS alarm. Hey, a door is ajar, blah, blah, blah. Let's go up and check it. Well, this is like the log, right? So way back a couple years ago, Mandalay Bay changed out all their locks. It may have even been 5 years ago to hot SOS. So now here's the logs.
Okay.
All right. So I went through this, and I was like, I don't want to go through, they put in like 3-4 days in here at least. So I don't want to do that. So what I did was I just went to noon, around noon that day, 1 October.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm assuming Paddock went to church, assuming the Mandalay Bay had a service.
Why would he go to church?
Who knows?
All right. I'm not assuming anything, but you can, because you're really a lower level of investigator than I am. That's fine. You assume all you want.
I'm assuming he knew he was going to die. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
So anyway, it would have been interesting to see where he actually was all day long, right? And see if he dropped in just to go, what in the world? So anyway, what I tried to do is I just said, look, I'm not going to spend my time. So we may be missing something. I'm not going to spend my time on analyzing the door information to 135 any earlier than 12 o'clock.
Noon.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
I got to find my
What'd you find out?
So what I did was I took an Excel spreadsheet and I put all this stuff in there. What it does is it gives us the card name. And that's not really the card name, right? It's not like Paddock on the name, right? So basically what it does, it gives you one column that says, here's kind of a command name. And then the next one, it says date, like the day.
Uh-huh.
Then it tells you the time, right? And then it tells you the event, right? So like daytime and then event.
Okay.
Meaning door is closed, door is open. Door is open from the inside. Guest card.
It even tells you from what direction?
I'm not sure how. If somebody out there knows how it tells you if I opened it from the inside or from the outside, I would really like to know.
Does that say?
No.
Okay. All right.
So, and then it tells you when the deadbolt was turned.
Okay.
So it says deadbolt was thrown, which I'm assuming means locked, because the next one would be deadbolt released. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm making some assumptions here.
Right.
It doesn't really go into a logical pattern sometimes, so I'm not really sure. It would be nice to actually stand next to a door in the Mandalay Bay and go through the sequence. Yeah. Because look, this is electronic, so unless somebody manually took something out, we have to assume this is all in chronological order.
Right.
By second. Right? I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what it also says is it says when you have a card, right? Like when you check in, right?
Right.
And you have a card that they say, do you want 1 or 2 cards? Right? Okay. So they give you a card. On here, what it tells you is it tells you the person who gave you the card, the one who issued it.
Okay.
Behind the desk. And it tells you the number of the card. Right? So it's for room 135.
Okay.
But it has its own serial number. That card does.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, if I got 2 cards, maybe one was number 19 and one was 56. Who knows?
Right.
But every time I swipe it, it's gonna register the card I swiped who gave me that card and whether that card was actually accepted in the door or not. You know how you go in and you go,
Right.
man, I keep clicking this damn card and it
Right,
doesn't open.
right,
Red,
yeah.
red, red, red.
Right.
Can you try it?
shows
Yeah. Boom. You know, it's
It
like
shows-
I spent a
it
night
shows
in a hotel with my wife. I'm like, here's my card. Okay. Click, red, click, red, click, red. Wife
Yeah.
says, let me do it. I'm like, no. Click red, click red, click red. She let me do it. You're not doing it right. I'm like, how can I not be doing it right? Okay? I mean, it's click red, click red. Click. I give it to my wife. Click green.
Oh, that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. For her to be with you.
It's frustrating for me, man. I'm sure she'd agree with you. Like, give me that card back.
Oh, shoot.
I'm going to go back down to the front desk. It must be just a Kim card and not a Bruce card. So
Man.
anyway, that's what this thing shows
Okay.
for 135 and 134. So I went through here and I put it in an Excel spreadsheet, which everybody can download. It's on the website. And I made one tab. So if you know how spreadsheets work, you have one tab. You can create multiple tabs of information.
Right.
So I have one tab that's all 135 information. I have one tab that's all 134 information.
All right.
And then I have a third tab where I merge the two together.
Okay.
Which is really interesting to see. Then what I did was I took that information and I put it into the time event chart. So in the time event chart, you have Jesus Campos sworn statement number 1, sworn statement number 2, dispatcher sworn statement, room 135, lock appendix A, room 134, lock appendix B, right?
Okay.
That's a lot of work. But
That is a lot of work.
It's an interesting find.
Yeah. So let's get into some nitty gritty here, man.
So the nitty gritty. So in room 135, what happens, we start at 1:13 p.m.
Okay.
Because the time right before that, because remember, I'm starting at sometime after the 12 o'clock noon.
Right.
The time before that is the door was locked or closed. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm like, okay, this is safe. We can start now.
All right.
So at 1:13, and literally, I'm really not familiar with what has been already said over the last 2 years with what Paddock did before the shooting, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I know they've got cameras of him and whatever, but you know, according to the news, he locked himself in the room at like 6 o'clock or something and stayed in there, whatever. So I really didn't pay much attention to that because it seems like every time I watch a news article or news, it's all different, right?
It's always different. Yeah.
So I'm just taking the facts here. This is what they gave us. So
show us, baby.
12 noon is when I started. The door was closed.
Right.
The next time is 1:13 p.m.
Okay, correct.
In the afternoon. The sun is still shining.
Right. Correct.
All right. So what this says is the deadbolt was released.
All right.
All right. The next one, under 113, is the door is open from inside. Okay?
So it tells you that the door is open from the inside.
Yeah. So if you're inside, now we don't know who this is, right?
Yeah, but it's telling you the deadbolt was released and the door was opened from the inside. So there's somebody inside when they open that door.
The assumption is there's a person inside room 135.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Releases the deadbolt, opens up the door.
Right.
At 1:14, a minute later, now that doesn't have seconds, which is a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
But at 1:14, The guest card was accepted. And it was accepted 3 consecutive times at 1:14.
That's weird.
And then the door was closed.
Okay, now this is interesting. Just this statement is interesting because someone opened the door from the inside. First of all, if it's the same person, why would they need a card to get back into the room? They just opened the door unless they forgot something.
Well, so according to this, if you look at the door now, think of yourself inside the room.
Right.
You release the deadbolt. You open the door from the inside. So now you're standing in the hallway with the door open because it's not closed yet.
Right.
You take your card and you go in once, you go in twice, you go in 3 times, and it works all 3 times. And then you close the door.
Why would you do that?
Well, I don't know why, but
or you walk out in the hallway, the door closes, and you're like, crap, I forgot.
It's not closed. It doesn't say it's closed.
Oh, okay. It doesn't say it's closed. It said, okay, it's still open, and someone went zap, zap, zap. Maybe to double check that it worked. Who knows?
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Yeah,
assumption.
that's weird. Yeah, that's
then
weird.
the door closes.
Okay.
Now we don't know at this point, and this is 1:14 in the afternoon.
Right.
We don't know at this point if when the door closed they were inside the door or outside the door. It doesn't tell us that.
Okay.
Only the cameras would be able to tell us that.
Right.
So so nothing happens on the door. Nothing happens with the door until 6:18 that night.
Okay.
At 6:18 p.m., the door is opened from the inside. So the assumption is
there's either a second person in there,
or the initial person,
or the initial person didn't leave.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I'm not trying to stump the chump here. I'm just, asking a question.
No, I'm trying to figure it out too. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever locked yourself out of a room? I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, oh shit, the door closed.
I know. So it's opened again from the inside. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah. So remember, at 1:14 is when the door closed. At 6:18, the door opens from the inside. Now, I haven't looked at any videos because everybody seems to have videos of Paddock during the day, Sunday, what he was doing, where he was, this and that. So I don't know where he was during this time, and I haven't overlapped that. Okay. So all we're talking about on this video is not really Paddock and where he was and whether he was or was not here and whatever.
No.
All we're talking about is the door.
The door. Right.
That's it. All I care about is the door. Right.
Closes.
So the door closes at 1:14. At 6:18 that night, the door opens from the inside.
Okay.
Then it opens from the inside. Guest card goes in once. Guest card goes in twice. The door closes. Deadbolt thrown.
Okay.
Now what's the assumption?
I would assume that whoever it was went outside.
Well, the deadbolt was thrown.
Oh, from the inside. Yeah, the deadbolt's thrown.
The deadbolt's only on the inside.
So again, someone tested the swipe key a couple times and closed the door. Still staying inside.
The assumption is there's one person occupying that room. Okay?
Yeah, that's odd.
Okay, so
Actually.
if the assumption is there's more than one person occupying the room, then it may make sense. I test it because I'm going to leave and I want to make sure it works when I come back, right? I mean, we would do that, right? You open up the door and you're like, man, I have so many problems with these keys. I don't know when I'm going to come back. Let me test it to make sure it turns green. And then I'm going to close the door and I'm going to go someplace. And when I come back, I know it's going to work. Right? Okay. I mean, I could see that. However, this door is being opened from the inside and then the deadbolt's locked from the inside. Okay?
Right.
All right, so deadbolt thrown. It's still 6:18. I mean, all that happened within a minute, right?
Okay.
So now at 6:40 p.m., the door again is open from the inside.
Okay.
Now this is where it's kind of weird because the timing. And I wrote this verbatim with this, okay? And look, I'm assuming no investigator followed up.
Right.
So anyway, if anybody out there is familiar with this type of system, they may be able to explain to us and answer some of these questions. So
yeah,
question is this: at 6:40, the door is opened from the inside.
Okay.
Then the deadbolt is released. Now, I don't know how that happens. Logically, I would think the deadbolt has to be released before you open the door.
Yeah.
With this system, what it actually says, and this is chronological, I have to assume, is the door opens from the inside, then the deadbolt is released.
Well, that's weird. Okay. So then what?
Then the door's closed. So here's what I'm assuming. Now, this is another question, right, to somebody who knows what Hot SOS does, right, is and how these logs are logged. Is let's just say, at what point does a door get registered as being closed? Okay? Like, for instance, if I close the door, you know, like if you're going to go out and go get ice, what do? You throw the deadbolt.
Oh, yeah.
So the door doesn't close.
Right.
You go and you come back, and then you open the door. You release the deadbolt. That's the only possible way to release the deadbolt, if the door's already open.
Right.
So I only have to assume at this point, because there's no possible way you can release a deadbolt with the door closed, or the deadbolt's already there. So like this instance, before, let's take it 6:18. 6:18.
Right.
The guy closes the door and then throws the deadbolt. Well, at what point when you close the door does it register closed? Does it have to be all the way closed?
Oh, yes. Does it have to be latched?
Right.
Or is it to a certain point?
Right. Is it to a certain point where maybe the magnet says it's closed, but reality it's still open?
True.
Okay. So if at 6:40, if at 6:18 the guest goes click, 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 yeah, my card works. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to close the door, throw the deadbolt, but the door's still open, obviously.
Okay.
It's registered as closed, but it's just right.
True.
Now at 6:40, about a half hour later, the door is open from the inside. Now I don't know how it can tell if it's open from the inside. Okay, but it says open from the inside.
Okay.
Then the deadbolt's released.
So that would almost tell you.
And then they close the door.
Was open. The door was cracked open by the deadbolt.
Right.
And so it does almost tell you that that's the only way that would have happened, more than likely.
It's a good question for an investigator.
So so now the door closes and the deadbolt is latched again.
Yep.
Okay.
No, deadbolt's not thrown. So basically, they open it from the inside, they release the deadbolt, they close the door, and this is at 6:40, right? Okay? At 6:41, 1 minute later, the door opens from the inside. Dude, there's a baby like 2 doors down, right? There's a woman on like 133, and there's a guy in 135. Okay, I mean, it is just crazy. Okay, I mean, It's crazy. So 34, so 30, 132. There's a guy. 130. There's the baby. That's on one side. Okay, and then on the other side, you've got 133 and 129. There's people in. So there is literally people in the room, the 4 rooms right outside of 135.
Okay.
Listening to the fucking doors going click, 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 click.
So now what?
So at 6:40, they open up, they release the deadbolt, they close the door. At 6:41, somebody opens it from the inside.
Okay.
At 6:42, the door closes.
Okay.
At 6:47, the door opens from the inside.
Damn. Okay.
And then closes.
Okay.
It's a busy. It's a busy room.
That is a busy room.
Okay. At 6:50, the door opens from the inside. The door is closed, and then the deadbolt's thrown.
Okay.
Again, I don't know if that door is all the way closed and deadbolted, or just not, opened and deadbolted. Because that's 6:50. That's 6:50. All right.
Be nice to have some video of that floor.
I don't think the video is working. I think the video on the cart was the only ones working at the time. So anyway, so that's 6:50. Think about that, right? So the last registered action was at 6:50 p.m.
Okay.
Again, doors open from the inside. The door closes, deadbolt thrown. Meaning locked.
Locked.
Okay? Locked.
Okay.
The next thing that happens is at 9:30, 9:29, let's just call it 9:30.
Okay.
Again, 9:29. It's 29.
29 again.
It's weird stuff, dude. Yeah.
That number, isn't that crazy?
It is. That's why I say listen to it.
Yeah.
At 9:29,
okay,
the door opens from the inside.
Does the door on your log there ever open from the outside? Does it say about any doors ever opening from the outside?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm actually kind of surprised you asked it, but because I did such a great job, I moved you into a path of thinking to where I knew you were going to ask that question. And we'll get that in room 134.